Hi, I'm Blake, President of Master Wholesale. We're here today to do a test on resin bond diamond blades for cutting glass. These blades are quite a bit more expensive than your standard glass blades. They range in price from $200 to $320. We'll be testing the MK glass cutting blade, the Pearl P5 resin bond blade, and the Montolit glass blade. And as well, we're going to test the Alpha Vetro blade, which is a less expensive blade, just so we get a good comparison between if you're getting any value for your extra money you spend. First blade we got going on is the MK glass cutting blade. We'll see how this one performs first. Okay, we got 3 different types of glass we're cutting here today. We're going to cut with each blade, and then we're going to put them side by side and see which blade seems to perform the best. So what we have up here is I put another piece of tile which I've cut a groove into. When you're cutting some of the smaller mosaics, they want to fall down inside here, and it makes it crack a little bit, so we're just going to put this up and it keeps them from going in there and cracking. We're going to go ahead and fire up the MK blade and try to hold each piece as we cut it so that it doesn't, move around and crack. That's the tough thing on the mosaics. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take that cut and put it off to the side, and we'll get a close-up look at it later along with the other cuts. Next we're going to do a 4x10. Go ahead and lower the saw back down. Make the cut. With this tile, because it's painted on the back with white, you can see where it's kind of chipping off. I'm going to cut one side up and one side down just so we can see the difference. As you can see, when you cut with the white side up, there's a lot less chipping on the white, which will make your installation go a lot better. So you want to cut anything that's painted on the back with the white side up, or the painted side up, or the primed side up, whichever you prefer. Go ahead and put these over here to look at later. And we got this guy here. If anybody's wondering, this is actually a piece of real glass, shelving glass, so we're going to see if it even cuts. Set that piece over up to the side, and we're going to change out blades. The next blade going on is the Pearl P5 resin bond. We're going to go ahead and make sure the arrow's turning the same direction as the arrow on the saw, so we're going to flip the blade over and put it on. Okay. We're going to go ahead and cut the mosaic glass with the Pearl blade. I'm going to move this off to the side for comparison later. Next we're going to do the 4x10, which is painted and sealed on the back. We're going to do 2 cuts, one up, one down. Cut pretty smooth, although it did chip out at the end there, but it didn't chip the paint as much each direction as the other one. And some glass. Did pretty good, chipped out right at the end a little bit. Next blade up is the Montolit. Again, the arrow's turning this way, so we're going to flip it over so it's turning the right way for the saw. Okay, the Montolit definitely cut the best so far. So next we got the 4x10. We're going to do 2 cuts, one up, one down. We don't need this anymore. Let's go ahead and remove that. Pretty damn good. And the last blade we're going to test is the Alpha blade, which is basically half and third of the price of some of these other blades we're testing. Well, before we look at all the comparisons here, I just want to mention that on mosaic tile like this, normally speaking, we'd cut one piece at a time. In the video, we left it on the mesh because I wanted to see if any of these blades would allow you to cut it on the mesh, which would be, you know, a real advantage if you could do that. So the Alpha blade, which is the least expensive blade in the bunch, cut the glass real well. It cut the mosaic very well, and did a little chipping and cracked out at the end on the 4x10 glass tile. The Montolit blade cut the glass very good, very little chipping at the end. It cut the mosaic glass very clean, probably in my opinion the cleanest out of all the saws. It cut on its first cut very clean with the glass. On the second cut it broke out just right at the end. I could have been pushing just a little bit too hard, but this blade seemed very nice. Okay, the P5 Pearl blade chipped out right at the very end on the glass. It was a clean cut till then. Maybe if I went a little slower it wouldn't do that, but and it did a pretty decent job on the mosaic. Had a little chipping, you know, in the middle again. We'd probably be cutting those one piece at a time so you wouldn't have that happening. It cut very smooth on the 4x10, very little chipping on the white part. It did break out on the last cut a little bit there, so overall pretty decent blade. Okay, the MK broke out on the glass right at the end. It did a pretty nice job on the mosaic. On the 4x10 we saw a little bit more chipping than the other blades, but it didn't break out at the end. When I reversed cut it, you can see that it didn't chip as much when I did it that way. So this blade price-wise is in the middle of the pack, so pretty good cutting for the money. The blade that I thought performed the best in this series of tests is the Montolit. It cut the best on all three different products. I would have to call the Alpha a close second, especially when you have to take into consideration the price of it, but this blade and all the blades cut very well. So one last thing I want to share with you, it's really important on these high-end glass cutting blades is that you have to reopen them every 10 to 15 cuts to keep them working properly. Montolit actually won't warranty their blade if you don't use their stone to do it with. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to raise the height of the diamond to where it just cuts through the height of the rim of the diamond. So we're going to put it right about there, lock it in. Now, all the other blades that we're showing here today can be reopened with any 80 or 60 grit rubbing stone, and you'll find that to be a lot more economical. So with Montolit, if you want their warranty to be intact, you need to use theirs.